What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnston. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate business into a life of freedom. We've got a phenomenal guest, as always. So we are going to talk about how Sarah Johnston has essentially increased her Instagram following and made it half of her business here in 2018, so she can directly trace it back to Instagram. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into the mindset shifts that actually have made that work for her and have made her such a success on Instagram. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into on that. As always, we have all kinds of fun things to talk about, and Greg McDaniel is here, my co-host and co-pilot. The junior grandmaster himself is with us. Greg, what's up today?
What's up, guys? Hey, this is going to be a great show. We have the Johnston and the Johnston, and they were both summarily beating me verbally in the pre-show, and this is going to be rough. I was talking about Sarah and I have been friends for a long period of time. She and I got to meet up and actually do some photos if you guys ever saw us over there when she came down to San Francisco. And I was talking to her about, hey, look, Sarah, went out and got the iPhone 10 and all these great photos, and I can even look good on Instagram, and without breaking stride. She's like, yeah, you're going to look good as soon as we get you those skinny filters. I'm like, what? Well,
hey,
no.
I'm telling you, it's the best app ever. It will make you look good.
I don't need help with that. I already look good.
Charm. Colgate smile. Ding.
Anyways, guys, yeah, if you don't know Sarah, I want you to go follow her on Instagram. You will learn why it all started with one crazy-ass dance that she did after a really bad day and a bottle of wine, which really helped propel her into Instagram stardom. And
wine helps everything.
Oh, God, yeah, we're in real estate. Of course it does. I mean, let's be honest.
I know. This is true.
Matt,
well, it's nice. Thank you guys for having me back. I know.
Oh
you know what? It's literally been 2 years since the last time I was on your show. Just going to put that out there. It was almost exactly 2 years ago that I met you fellows.
No way.
And it was one of my Instagram followers that mentioned to Greg that perhaps we should hook up and chat. And
yeah, Neely Freeman.
Yeah,
Neely.
Serious? It was Neely?
It was Neely.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. All right, thank you, Neely. I completely forgot that she was the one that connected us. That's crazy. What a small world. So we just spoke in the wonderful and very cold city of Detroit here a couple months ago, and Neely and Misty were the ones that made that happen. So, man alive, Neely is really pulling her weight. What's the deal with all of you other viewers? You guys got to step up your game here, man. We're like flying halfway across the country to hang out with Neely, and she's hooking us up with guests, and man alive, we got to get some other people competing with Neely. All right, guys. So Sarah, for those that didn't catch the last episode, can you fill them in briefly? Where you are, what you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am a realtor in Calgary, Alberta. We've got a grand population of about 1.4 million, and we've got 5,500 agents in this market. Now, we have been in a recession for the last 3 years. I have been in real estate for just over 12, and I want to say close to 13, but I figure anytime after 10, it's okay just to forget it, right? Because it just ages you more than anything. I don't know. I'm just here. So I like to think every now and then that I know what I'm doing and that I've got some experience, and then, of course, sometimes a curveball hits you, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing at all. So yeah, so that's what I do day to day, live and breathe the real estate world and lifestyle.
Yes,
sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, well, hey, that's real estate. That's why we drink. But to answer your question,
welcome to the brokerage. Here's your mandatory bottle
of wine. So where can you go follow you on Instagram? We have tons of people asking for your Instagram.
And you know what? Where can they follow me on Instagram, Greg? Because I feel like you're asking me because you don't know my handle.
No, I want you to actually say it. I have it right in front of me.
So Greg doesn't know how to follow me on Instagram, but if you do want to know, it is Adventures in Real Estate YYC, which he just looked up on his new iPhone 10.
Yes, exactly. That's why I knew where to find you on Instagram. See? Yeah, Adventures in Real Estate YYC, guys. Go check it out. There's a couple of imposters out there. The evildoers that imposter you.
That's okay. You fully expect it. That's okay. Imposters are good. Doesn't that mean that you're doing something right? If somebody wants to follow what you're doing, you're kind of like, must be doing something right.
Exactly, and that's why I'm glad that you have a good attitude about it, guys. But go watch her; you'll see how she really does do a great job on Instagram. But I want to get this show back on track, so instead of just talking over Matt, I actually let him talk so we can.
I'm sorry, Matt, did you have something to say?
I do not enjoy being talked over. All right, so we've got a bunch of people watching. First of all, Rob St. John has extended the official invite for us to come out for the Kentucky Derby. That actually would be a lot of fun. I wish we could take you up on that. We've got a ton of travel in the first part of this year. Dave, Paul Franklin, Josh, Arne is watching, David, what's up, guys? Ryan, Carrie, what's up? So just wanted to briefly thank you guys. Let us know where you guys are at for a very specific reason. So I think the secret, Sarah, for Instagram accounting for half of your business is the fact that it's generating referrals from other agents all over North America. And so I would say you're the shining example of why every realtor should essentially get off of their ass and not be uptight about connecting with other agents, and why they should be, number one, known in their city, and then why they should be known around their entire country, because this is what happens when you actually do that.
Well, absolutely. And here's the thing. It would be easy enough. I've had this account for almost 3 years now, and it would be easy enough for, after the first year or two, just being like, you know what, I'm not that interested in it anymore, or it's fun to play on Instagram and to play with pictures, but it's a slow burn. The first couple of years, I think the last time we talked, Instagram was accountable for 5% of my business, and it's really been the last 6 months that all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit. If I look right now, and yes, it's only March, but if I look right now at my sales to date this year, 50% are from people that I either know or referred to me on Instagram. Now, it is about the current, my market, my local market as well. I'm getting people referring their friends and family, and yet I've never met these people. And they could just be regular Joes in the city of Calgary or in Alberta. But more importantly than that is the national agents as well. They start to recognize me, they know my name, which is phenomenal, and all of a sudden I'm getting, phone calls from people that are thousands of miles away saying, hey, Sarah, I've got clients moving to your city. Can you sit down and chat with them? Yeah, I can. And it's just turned into this huge snowball effect. And I kind of gave up last year thinking that I would be getting a lot of referrals and that Instagram for me was just more of an outlet. And then it showed me that I was wrong. It snowballed, getting phone calls at least 2 or 3 a week, which is insane. I know, and not all of these things work out, which is fine, and that's the nature of our business, but I'm meeting and sitting down with people all of the time because other agents or mortgage brokers are following me because I'm open about our business, and we chat about it, and they're giving me their clients. And I don't know, guys, it's kind of humbling. You're like, wow, like they trust me because they feel like they know me.
Exciting, all at the exact same time.
Absolutely. And so it's grown, and like I said, slow burn. It took a bit of time to get to this point, and I am so super happy and thankful and kind of amazed that me being a bit of a fool online and kind of sharing the day-to-day things and what I do in my business and how I get referrals or how I do some of my marketing has resulted in this, because I kind of just thought for a long time I was just giving away a whole bunch of information just to try to keep myself motivated.
Right. Well, the thing is that with your Instagram, though, Sarah, is that you are very consistent with your colors, your brand, your font, your quirkiness, which everyone gets a kick out of, but you're also very professional at the exact same time. And that's what people are, they get to know you. Like for us and for you, Matt and I started the podcast about 3 years ago. You've had your Instagram for about 3 years, and we're both starting to see that trending results of the time on task being put in to getting the results back out. And I think that a lot of folks, when they get into real estate, they think it's an instant gratification business. I'm going to get buyers. I'm going to work with all my sellers. I'm going to make $1 million the first year. I'm going to double my business the second year. When in reality, you've got to find your voice. Like you've found your voice very successfully. Through Instagram and showcasing your personality and your professionalism. What would be a few tips you would give a new IG user or me on how to?
Greg, I've tried to help you so many times, and I think that you have proven that you are beyond that. Come on, if there's anybody. We're good friends. If there's anybody to ask about these things, perhaps before posting those random photos, just send them my way. I will help it all look better, help it flow, and then give you something to say about it. Don't just post something with no write-up. My God, man.
Well, this is why we're going to have a Wednesday call, and we're going to go over everything I'm going to post for the next week. Thank you, Sarah, for being my personal
accountability
mentor.
partner right here.
Actually, that's a good question, though, Sarah. I'm curious because there is a right way to do it that actually gets engagement, and there's a way to do it that causes everything to land with a giant empty thud in an empty room.
Deaf ears, whole bunch of deaf ears surrounding Greg.
So a whole bunch of deaf ears. Man, I wish I could be one of those deaf ears, but I actually have to listen to what Greg has to say. But Sarah, how do you plan? I mean, how much planning do you put into the content that goes out on Instagram, and how much of it is kind of on the fly?
Not a ton, and honestly, the majority of it is on the fly. Even if I'm coming up with quotes, it's because it's something that I'm feeling and or during that day. There will be times where I don't post for a week, but it's because I'm engaged elsewhere and working and really, head down, butt up type thing. And it has to be authentic. I know. All of these
We're
things,
going to totally let
down.
that one skate by. Sorry.
Sarah-isms. Sarah, just write them down. Look it up after.
Can we please put an Instagram meme out there that just says head down, butt up?
Yeah.
Sarah.
Here's working.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, so you can actually get away with not posting for a week at a time? That's crazy. I've never heard such a thing.
I can.
Okay.
And I don't do it on purpose. And sometimes Instagram doesn't like it. So by saying that they've got their algorithm, so they want you to be engaged, they want you to be an engaged member of the community so that people see your posts. So the less I post, the less of my followers will actually see it. It doesn't come up kind of in their feed. And that's a pain also. But I'm also not just going to post something because I have to throw something out there. I'm not just going to find a pretty picture online and say, ooh, I love these colors, sparkle, sparkle. It's got to be something about what I'm doing and what I'm going through. So for me, there's a little bit more of an emotional attachment to Instagram, which is probably why sometimes I come across as a little bit crazy. Totally not meaning to, but it's more of an emotional response for me, right? Like things that I'm doing right now, funny things that my clients have said. I've got videos every now and then that is literally shit my clients say because they crack me up more times than not. But, well, we're going through a home and we're laughing and trying to find out what the owners do. And clients say the darndest things, just like children. And I get a good crack out of that, right? And so kind of bringing that to my online community, that's what really keeps me going. And so that's the stuff that I share. And yes, I'd like to share more often, but I'm a working agent and I'm doing this. I haven't hired a company to do this. Nobody's ever done any of my posts. Nobody's ever purchased any followers or anything like that for me. So
I want to purchase followers. That's one thing that you and I have talked about. Because I've come to you a couple times, like, how do I grow this fucking thing? And you're like, Greg, you just got to do this and do that. I'm like, that sounds so laborious. But you're like, well, don't. I mean, I'm like, well, what about these other people that? And you're like, no, Greg, those are all bots. Those aren't real. They don't interact. They don't count. And I'm like, that's very true. I actually have a guy that's working with me right now to help me build my Instagram account, and I'm actually getting real people because they're actually reaching out to me more messages than I've ever got in my entire life, and there is a big difference. I mean, you could go to Fiverr.com and buy stuff, but it's not going to do anything for your brand because if Sarah wasn't actually communicating with someone that actually liked her, they would not reach out to her and be like, hey, Sarah, I got a client for you. A bot won't do that. So numbers don't count, I mean, at all. And actually, Sarah, do you ever go back and thin your account, like people that say weird stuff or just aren't interacting? I mean, do you eliminate people out just as often as them?
Not necessarily. I've got a few people that have either blocked me, which is always an interesting one. All right, that's fine. Maybe I'm annoying or something. Generally, it's people in my own market area that I think just don't want me to see their things or don't want to see mine or want to follow without me knowing that they're following. All sorts of weird stuff like that happens too. You still get that. You can't let the haters, as it were, kind of bring you down. I don't thin a lot of what I'm doing. I don't follow to follow. You know what I mean? So I'm not following people to get them to follow me. The people I'm following, I actually try to interact with and know what's going on with them. I told you guys I was at the mall yesterday and somebody was like, hey, oh my gosh, I know you. And she pointed at me and I was like, bah. And I was like, okay, well, hey, I'm Sarah. And she was like, yes, Instagram, we know each other. And the funny thing is that because she's in Calgary also, I actually do follow her back. And I knew about her and who she was. And I was like, yes, yoga. And so we had, kind of a chit chat about that. But I recognized her name. I don't follow a ton of people. But if I'm following you, I'm trying to be actively engaged. And it's not just surface deep. Like it's all the way in there. And so I actually knew who she was as soon as she mentioned her name. Now, I'm terrible with facial recognition, but as soon as she mentioned her name and Instagram, I put the two and two together. So it literally goes both ways.
That's interesting. I mean, a lot of us, whenever we're doing a lot of stuff on video, I just think about this is the video world, like this is the online world. When you step out and you go into the real world, air quotes, then they separate from each other, but they don't. They bleed into each other more often than not. And so, a lot of the stuff, like what you've done, Sarah, and what we're doing and what I do on some of my other shows is that you got to create your own brand. And then stick with that brand because that brand's going to be you and people are going to resonate with you. And like you said, some are going to be haters. They're not going to resonate with you. That's got to be okay with you. if you want to grow Instagram, if you want to grow Facebook, if you want to grow social media or anything online, if you, like you were saying before, like there's something, if the haters are going to copy you, dude, that's, imitation is the highest level of flattery. I mean,
Well,
just
and
let 'em do
it
it.
completely is. And don't get me wrong, it took me a long time to grow my skin and to get it a little bit thicker because it would kind of put me down a little bit. I'd have that poor me, somebody said something or made a bad comment, or I hear within my own industry that people are saying things about me and behind my back. And yeah, it hurts your feelings. But at this point, it's easy to shake it off. I'll have like 5 seconds of like, whoa, that's really shitty. And be like, okay, what's next? But it took a while to get to this point because it is going to hurt your feelings. People are going to say things. People are there because they want to put you down. You got to realize that it's coming from a place of pain with them.
Yeah.
Right? They're obviously
Yeah,
not
it's
okay
interesting.
with themselves. And
I'm curious, Sarah, because with Instagram, is it a little bit easier to set up accounts that are not directly linked to you as a person? Like Facebook is linked to you as a person, so there's definitely a lot less hatering going on than, let's say, YouTube, where you really can't. It's really hard to tie a YouTube channel back to a real human being with a real name. I feel like Instagram is kind of in the middle. It's not anywhere near as bad as YouTube or Twitter, but it is a little bit less. It's more anonymous than Facebook, right?
Oh, completely. So you could have absolutely no idea who's saying or doing what. And, I don't control my followers, and I don't see some of the ones that come in sometimes, and I'm not looking behind everybody's motif to see who and what they are about. And most definitely, those fake accounts come up all of the time, and there are a lot of people that are just sitting there and they're kind of watching you to see what you're going to do next. And, people tell on me all the time, which is kind of funny. Like, who are you going to tell to? But they'll say something to my broker, they'll say something to the real estate board, and that's their thing too, and they're welcome to. But I am 100% comfortable with everything I post on there, even if I end up swearing during it.
What exactly could you possibly do that would get reported to your broker? Honestly, I mean, she's posting too many pretty photos of her office. What a cruel human being!
I know,
Oh my
it is
God.
really pretty though, isn't it?
Look at you, right, like a boss. Just lean back.
Hey, if it was a Friday afternoon, I'd fully have like a glass of wine right now.
We should have put her on the Friday show, Matt. Damn it.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
what
I
were
still
you
need
guys
to get my
doing?
bottle of scotch that goes right next to the. Yeah,
Sarah, what
Scotch
and-
Friday.
I know, and if I turn my computer at all, I've got so much champagne and wine and everything in my office. Client gifts, guys. Client gifts. Don't get the wrong idea.
That's what I tell myself too. It's a client gift sometime down the road. Oh, they're not going to use that. I'll take that. Okay, I'll just quality control. Quality control. Yep, can't give you bad champagne. Matt? I want to talk about some of the things that Sarah did to shift.
Yeah.
Because some of the things that Sarah you talked about that you did to shift out of the mental state that you were in, I think they dovetail really nicely with what I was doing today on my morning show, and what Matt has been reading about, and what you preach from your soapbox. And I think that a lot of people might need to write this stuff down. And I'm not kidding, guys. Seriously, write these things down that Sarah's going to talk about, because they are you can implement them no matter where you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually in your life, and you can see a shift if you're willing to stick to them. But that's
Most
up to
definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Pen and paper. If you guys want, they might think that I'm just full of garbage, but
you. Hey,
it's funny. We were, as you do, we were chatting a little bit before the show, and I was just commenting. Instagram has been amazing, and I'm forever thankful. And yes, I put things out there, but I started to realize last year that what I was doing was deeper than just Instagram, and it was deeper than just trying to find motivation. And I came up with kind of a theme for myself last year, which was change your mindset, change your life. And I realized that kind of the things that I was reaping and sowing from Instagram really came back to the fact that in business, because this is a hard business, I had started to do a few things that changed the way I was looking forward and thinking. So motivation is wonderful. People come and they watch your show for motivation, or they want to have a chat with me for motivation because they want to get amped and pumped up. But let's be honest, motivation is fleeting. It's not going to last forever. And next week, somebody might need more motivation to keep going and doing what they're doing. Last year, I realized Instagram for me, it was motivating me. But deeper than that, it had helped me change my mindset. Now, I had put a few things in place a few years ago when I realized that our market was essentially crashing to try to change my mindset, because I was worried. You know, real estate is, we're on the whim, we're on the fly all the time. Things are good, then they're bad, and it's an emotional roller coaster, and you're a 13-year-old hormonal girl, and you don't know what you're doing. And that's real estate, essentially, right? And so, you're welcome, guys. So many Sarahs.
Sorry, I'm just picturing Greg as a 13-year-old hormonal girl. Hang on, sorry. Oh.
Mental picture, everybody take a moment. Mental picture, Greg, 13-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm. And now vomit profusely.
Not the pretty type there, not the pretty type, Greg. But I noticed that the mindset had actually started to change. And so I wrote down things that I had done to change my mindset. And guys, changing your mindset is not just about finding motivation every week. Mindset changing, for me, I believe, took about a year and a half. And Instagram tied into this because it helped me change all of my mindset. But as I was building up this Instagram account and as I was changing things about my business, I had also put a few other things into play. So you guys ready for this? I've essentially got 6 things that I did.
Taking notes. I'm ready.
Get a blank piece of paper.
I have a blank sheet.
I've
already been taking notes, Sarah. That's why it's full.
So there are some things that I started to do. One is don't believe the market. And when I say the market, I also mean things that other people have said or told you, right? It can be positive or negative. Here, we've got a terrible market. But the last 3 years in my market have been so terrible that they've been the best 3 years of my real estate career. That is not a coincidence. If I believed everything everyone told me, you get so entrenched in the negative that you actually can't move forward. It stalls you, and you get stage fright, essentially. Or the market can be so good, but there's so much competition that scares you off too. So don't believe what other people are saying. You've got to go out and figure that out for yourself. So that's number one. Make sense?
It does make sense, and I think that's a really important one for people to focus in on, because like right now here in Northern California, we have an inventory shortage here, and everyone's freaking out. Oh my God, we don't have anything to sell. It's like, well, no, this is an opportunity for you to life hack and business hack your career. Like, if you don't have business coming through your MLS, your traditional channels, go be non-traditional. Go find different ways to bring properties to the market. Go look under those different rocks.
Well, and if you think about, and this is a favorite quote of mine, because if you think about what everybody's telling you, remember that what you focus on grows, what you think about expands, and what you dwell upon determines your destiny. Thank you, Robin Sharma. I know. Crazy. Anyways, so number 2, the second big thing that really helped change my mindset was setting a daily schedule. I mean, we are all entrepreneurs. We've all got a few different things on the go. You're at the whims, it feels, of your clients all of the time. If you do not entrench yourself in a daily schedule, you will get blown away with the wind. So when I talk about a daily schedule, and be strict with yourself, treat this like a job. Treat this like this is the only thing that you're doing. So wake up early, work out, reflect on the things that you have been thankful for in the past, say, 24 hours, and, ask for what you want in the way of affirmations. And the longer you do this, every single morning of your life, in 30, 60, 90 days, you actually believe it and it becomes a reality. Mm-hmm. And you guys may or may not know this, but I actually write things down every day. I write lines every morning, 25 lines, about what my current affirmation is. I also write out 3 things that I've been thankful or grateful for that has happened like in the last 24 hours to remind yourself of where you've been so you know where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. It is those daily rituals that you're setting up for yourself, like what Sarah's sharing that she does right now, is probably the best time you can spend because it centers you back in. So you guys know that I do a lot of meridian tapping. I clear out negative energy out of my system. I review out my goal book here. I go to my dream board. I reflect onto it. I need to get better at writing. Honestly, I don't write down every single day what my affirmations and stuff like that. I need to get better at that. But there's a transformation when it goes from your head to paper. It becomes intangible to tangible, and it's a little psychologically it makes a difference. Don't just think about it. Take action and write them. And that's why, Sarah, I think you've seen such an explosion in growth. I mean, obviously a bunch of other things, but these daily rituals are very important. I mean,
but it all ties in, right? One thing didn't come without another. It all ties in together. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not just like, hey, you lucked out with Instagram and that's great. It's like, no, I worked my ass off doing all of these other things that now help me open up and share or do whatever I'm doing that seems to be working on on this thing, right? So Instagram seems to be working for me because I've done all of these other things. And it's kind of, bearing down.
And all feeds in. Part of why it feeds in is because where most people lose it, especially on marketing, and Instagram being a subset of marketing, is that you mentioned the word slow burn, right? And most people don't have the motivation to do the stuff that succeeds when it's a slow burn because they burn out. They can't generate enough emotional highs to keep going from one to the other, to keep on doing things that'll actually pay off in the long run. I just stumbled across an article the other day where they interviewed a guy named Sebastian Maniscalco, who's a comedian. And most people have never heard of him. If you go into most comedy clubs and just ask the random people in the audience, most comedy fans have not heard of him. He made $15 million touring comedy clubs last year. He built his career up over 20 years. And he was on, I knew about him because he was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. His career is, I don't even know if you can say blowing up. It's just continuing his slow burn, right? It just keeps getting better and better and better and better and better every year. And Sarah, that's the danger of relying on that, going from one emotional high to the other. Because if you had done that, you probably wouldn't be seeing the success that you're seeing on Instagram, because you just wouldn't have had the day-to-day motivation to keep on posting relentlessly, even when you weren't seeing immediate results.
And you nailed that. Absolutely. Because motivating and self-motivating and finding motivation is exhausting. And I literally did that for the first 8 years of my career. And I feel that's the number one mistake agents make, because they're looking outside for that motivation to keep going. Guys, it's exhausting. You're going to burn out. I had to take a couple months off from real estate at one point in time because I was at rock bottom. I was exhausted. And you're working and you're going all of the time, and you feel like, well, how can I get more clients? I'm so busy and running around and doing all of these things. Step back. You're doing something wrong if you feel like that. If you're flustered and you're confused and you're running around and you're crazy and things are those highs and lows. I mean, Greg, you know this. My big thing last year was to take 4 days off a month, 4 days in a row off a month.
Yeah.
To step back, step outside of the situation, clear your head, and then get going again. Probably the best thing that I've ever done for myself, because I don't rise, I don't fall, I don't have the crash and burn. But I'm also not looking for that motivation all the time, right? Because your mindset changes.
Well, a lot of the things, and I think that a lot of the times people say, well, I can't take any time off. I have all this business, yada, yada, yakety schmackety. But the thing is that if you're not at your peak performance, then you're doing a disservice to your current clients, your future clients, and to also yourself, both your personal life, your professional life, and the list goes on. And when you and Darren were down here, you guys were talking about where you guys were going to go take your next vacation. You guys are going to go up and watch the Northern Lights. You guys are going to go do something crazy and fun. But you were laying out something. And some funny stories to go along with that. But your clients also want to relate to you, and they want to be a part of that journey with you. So when you take those 4 days off in a row, it gives you one thing. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you some great stories you can, interact and react to other people and be good conversationalists. And it just gives you downtime. My dad, when he was doing real estate full time, he's kind of backed away from it at this point after 47 years in the business. He would bleed. He would work so hard and be so stressed out, he would start bleeding from the eyes. His retina detached.
God.
When he would go on vacation, but he would sleep for the first 3 days completely because he never took time off. He'd go from 6 a.m. to 10, 11 at night. That's not sustainable. You wouldn't want to commit homicide.
Well, and we're terrified though, right? Because that all comes back to scarcity. We believe that there's not enough, so we have to keep going and make sure that all of our clients are happy. The biggest and hardest lesson is to sometimes let go of those clients, and this works perfectly into my next number 3 way to change your mindset is create a support team, right? And it's creating a support team of other agents. Guys, we are all in the same boat here. You need other people that get what you're going through, but you also need an amazing support team that when I take those 4 days off and my clients know I'm leaving and that's fine, I have 6 freaking amazing agents that will step in and make sure that they're taken care of. Because
it's huge.
We're so worried that we're going to lose out on a deal. Because then you have to pass somebody on to something else, or a house comes up for clients and you're not there to show them, so then your clients walk away. Well, my clients are always going to be covered, and it's because I've created this amazing support team, and we're not paying each other huge referral fees because they need to go away, and I'm going to be there for them. So that support team and that network, and we meet every week and we chat about what's going on in the industry. We talk about the highs and lows, the trends, issues, those hot topics, and all of those failures and ideas. And it is so important. They are the ones that have let me realize it's okay to stand back for a couple of days, recharge, and then come back and do the same amazing things. And my clients are none the wiser. They're fully taken care of, and I don't feel like I'm scrambling and then I'm going to lose out, right? That whole scarcity principle. There's enough for everyone, guys, and you're not going to lose out because you take some time off to get your head straight.
And but you also need to do it just to, I mean, your spouse or significant other, you might not see them a lot when you're actually doing the real estate, and getting some time with that human being might be a good idea. Just putting that out there for you. Coming from the
and not always about work, right?
Exactly.
Like there's only so much real estate I can talk at home without being like, all right, and on to something else. So creating that team to help you with all of that and to help you step back. And it's so healthy. And then you're not crashing, you're not burning, you don't have those extreme highs and those extreme lows. And don't tell me it's about the market and, oh, the market's so busy, so I have to keep going like this. I'm sorry. You're believing what you're telling yourself.
Yeah, complete bullshit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, what is your unique trait number 4?
Number 4 is to get involved. So I was one of those agents. Oh, my God, are you actually writing that down? Craig McDaniel.
I told you I'm taking notes. I'm not
didn't
lying.
see that coming.
Our relationship is not built on lies, Sarah. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
So number 4 is to really get involved. Now, I was a typical agent that I thought, you know what, why am I going to the office? Other agents aren't going to give me business. I'm in real estate, so I can work from home and do my own thing. Exact opposite way to think. Now, I mean get involved with your industry, giving back to your industry, knowing and learning from other agents, becoming a team leader in the loose sense among your peers. Because as soon as you start to get involved, and to volunteer with all of the organizations within real estate, one, you're living and breathing it anyways. Your clients look at you a little bit of a different way because, trust me, the word does get out. And more important, other agents within your community look at you different too. There are agents out there that then want to work with you because they know who you are. They've heard your name. They know that you're not the big scary monster out there. You're getting involved. You're being proactive, and you're really helping to shape the industry of where you want to go.
Yeah.
So that volunteering is huge. So volunteer close to home. Give back to what you know.
Yeah, there's a stat done that, like, when getting involved and giving back and all that when your clients find out about it, because they will, like you said,
they do. They always do.
They're more likely to work with you by 14% if that philanthropic action lines up with their beliefs and everything else, because again, you're part of their tribe now, and you're giving into them.
Yeah, and you become this trusted name. And like I said, it's for your clients and it's for your competitors, so other agents within the industry. All of that is so important. If somebody asks me to go for coffee because they want to pick my brain because maybe their business isn't doing as well or they're new and starting out, my automatic response is always yes.
Guys, Sarah just doesn't sell real estate. She's got a shit ton of other things she's doing. What are you, president-elect right now? Or are you president yet?
No, I'm president-elect of the real estate board. That's right. But I only actually went out for the real estate board just over 2 years ago. So I became a director, and then just this past year, so as of January, I'm now president-elect. So next year I will be president of the real estate board. And don't get me wrong, it does take up a lot of my time. There's a lot of travel, a lot of meetings. I'm involved in all levels. I'm a part of a ton of different committees that are shaping our industry, and we're talking about our MLS data and the new trends and stuff that are coming into the industry. But that means that I'm looking ahead. I'm looking at what's coming up, and that helps my clients, and it helps me.
Yeah, it's really
kind of
does.
selfish, guys.
It benefits you on 2 levels, even better.
Right?
Totally. Well, you're kind of like the grain. I cannot pronounce his name. I cannot. Gretzky. Good Lord. One of the best hockey players.
The ultimate
Wayne Gretzky.
Canadian.
Canadian. I know. I'm referencing sports and bringing in Canada. This is a good thing. But I mean, the reason why he was so good at hockey
Greg is doubly out of
he wasn't looking at where he was. Yeah, no shit. He wasn't looking at where the puck is. He was looking where the puck was going. And so that's what Sarah's doing. She's looking where the business is going. Where is she going to be in 12 months, 24, 36 months down the road? with business and being the president-elect and then president. Trust me, don't fuck with her. I've known this woman for a long time. If you can go with the Johnston, you're in deep shit. But she's also brings you up and supports you too. So
yeah, well, and that's kind of what it's all about. So really, to get involved, it's really going to help benefit you guys. It's going to help benefit you and your clients. So number 5, find a role model. A lot of people come into the industry and they're afraid to ask those big producers or those people in their community that are doing well for themselves to sit down for coffee. You know what? Yeah. These people love to talk about what they're doing. They're going to do it. Now, your role model doesn't have to be local. You can have a role model that is national and touring the world, but it's somebody that you look up to, that you follow, that you take their advice. You guys are excellent examples of this, right? You've got your podcast show. You're always out there looking. Why I say you guys, I'm being very generous. So Matt, you're an amazing role model. People look out to you. They see what you're doing. And that's
that was awesome. Very slick. Oh, man.
And ask these people questions or learn more about them, finding out what they're doing in their day-to-day life and kind of try to check in with them to see what's going on. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel because this wheel of real estate has been reinvented 5,048,000 times. There's no sense in putting yourself through all of that all over again.
Yes, exactly. 100% true. Love it. Yeah, we've got, so Dave mentioned, Tim Ferriss is big on that. Says, nice work, Sarah. And Jared Haywood says, Greg, let's get some coffee. Please fly to Utah. So, Greg, you're getting on a plane.
I am responding to Jared right now, letting him know, hey, really? My pleasure. Just come to California, and we got it going on.
Exactly. Yeah, if you put 100 agents in a room, Greg will magically show up. He's like a genie when you rub the bottle. You put 100 agents in a room, Greg magically
So many
appears.
ways we could go with that, Matt.
That's right.
So many ways.
But yeah, I was going to say there's if there's anything that's made all the difference to me and that I wish I would have done, 15 years ago when I was just starting out, was getting the right mentors. It's made a huge difference. I mean, I was literally just telling somebody the other day, I think we were talking about my mentor, the guy that started Viral Marketing, has an internship program where he trains marketing assistants now. He's going to launch it on Facebook Live where you can essentially get trained for free. And I was reflecting on that, going, man alive, I wish I'd had something like that. I wish I would have run across some of the mentors that I have now when I was in my early 20s. I'd be so much farther along. The path is fine and everything is good, but man alive, getting the right mentors are so important. And it's funny because we've been reaching out. One of the podcasts that we produce is a local real estate podcast for the Boston area. One of our clients runs it as kind of a to grow his brokerage for a recruiting podcast. You'd be shocked. It's unbelievable how much easier it is for us to book really, really, really busy, really super successful agents than it is to book middle of the road people that sell 10 to 20 homes a year. They are the worst people to try to get onto a podcast and share what they're doing because they think they've reinvented the wheel and they think they've got something that's super awesome and special, and they've got nothing. But they think they do. It's so funny because it's hard to describe until you see it from the back end and you book really successful people and then you book middle of the road just kind of high producing local agents and they think they're the shit, which is hilarious. But so very important to find the right mentors because if you get a hold of those people and you try to get them to mentor you, they're the ones that will blow you off for coffee. The guys that are running the biggest teams in the state, they will actually have coffee with you, and you'll actually get a lot more value out of looking to the right mentors than someone that's a mid-level mid-producer.
And it's so shocking, and because all of our mentors have mentors. Mm-hmm. Even the Tom Ferrys of the world, our mentors have mentors. They've looked up to other people. They see what other people are doing in various areas of their business. And if that doesn't tell you something, nothing I say will.
Yeah. But it is really true. I mean, one of my things is that when it comes to a mentor, I've often learned from other people that are not even alive anymore. You can learn from famous people in the past, read their audio biographies, get to know their personalities, what they believed in, what their daily routines are. I mean, some of the greatest books, were written by very intelligent people, and you blow it off I'll read How to Win Friends and Influence People Down the Road, when you should be reading these massively successful books, and they can be in different industries. They can have lived in different centuries, but you can take a mentor at any level and ask people to recommend someone. So if I was to go to Sarah, who's one of your mentors right now? And could I maybe talk to them? Because I've seen your success. I bet you dollars to donuts, Sarah would turn me down. No, she wouldn't.
You specifically, not other people.
Yeah. Again. All joking aside, Sarah would absolutely open up her Rolodex, if you guys even know what that is. And
I don't even know what that is.
Open up your iPhone. And she would say, Greg, what do you want to learn? I would say, I want to learn blah, blah, blah. She's like, you got to go talk to Matt Johnson. Okay, thank you.
And I'm not the expert in everything, and you guys aren't either, but we owe it to ourselves and to our industries to kind of give back in that way too, and to talk about what we've learned. That's the only way that our industry is going to get better. It drives me nuts. I mean, I think I told you guys this last time I was on, think back 2 years, but when I first got into the industry, I didn't tell anyone I was a realtor. I was embarrassed of this profession, and if there's anything that I slowly want to change about it, it's that I don't want to be embarrassed of our profession. I want everybody to be just as professional and just as amazing, and to kind of light that flame within people, and to have it actually be a profession that's looked upon and respected, and not like some used car salesman or, ambulance chasing lawyer. I want it to be different. And that's, for me, that's the flame that I'm trying to light, and that's why I do these things.
Well, I was the same way. When I got into the business, I was legitimately ashamed of real estate, and I'm like, oh, I literally went out there. What do you do? Like, I have the best job ever. So what do you do? I'd move right around it. But then I was also afraid because I had that lack mentality for a while. And when I first got in, I was like a dog around my food dish. I was huddle around it and don't let anybody know what I'm doing or my leads or anything else like that. I hated all the other real estate agents because, fuck you, don't come near me, kind of an attitude. But then when I'm
not going to tell you what I'm doing.
So Sarah, I know this is exactly what happens to you. When someone asks me for her advice, I will give them my playbook, play by play. Here's everything, no holds bars. And I think about 0.5% of the time they will take and do a portion of it, not anywhere close to the full thing. And even if they did do the same thing that you're doing exactly the way you're doing it, they're going to do it with a different flavor. They're going to appeal to different people. They're going to pull it off in a different way. So it doesn't matter. Like you said before, there is way more business than you can imagine. We all will survive just fine. Just be okay with that. We're sharing the spoils with a few other agents, because if you stay professional and keep crushing it like you're doing, you will keep beating them. And
it's the scarcity principle. There's enough for everybody, and we can all do an amazing job.
Yes,
anyways,
100%.
Which kind of goes to my sixth point, and we had talked about this, about the books and figuring all of that out, but it's really just about keep learning. You will never, nobody at the top stays at the top, and you don't fall at the top of the mountain, right?
Yep.
So you get there by learning and getting that education and taking courses and reading and webinars and having those resources at your fingertip. The people at the top work hard to stay there. They don't just end up there and they're there. They work hard. They are some of the hardest workers that I know. And you can't say that any top agent in your market is just like, oh, well, I just decided to get my real estate license and then here I am. It doesn't happen that way.
No, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. They asked Steve Jobs and Bill Gates a question. I remember this because I was so dumbfounded by it. They said, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And everyone's like, oh, I wonder if everyone wants to fly or be invisible or whatever else. Almost to a letter, they both said this equivalent, the same thing. They said, I wish I could read faster. And learn more at a quicker rate. And I'm like, well, that tells you something right there. But, Sarah's right on about the education. Daily I'm out there listening to other podcasts. I'm looking at other shows. If I have a question, I'll go onto YouTube. You got to grow and expand. And Sarah, when you came to that aha on becoming more, learning every day, where's a resource that you went to right off the bat to start learning?
Honestly, I've always been a learner. So anytime our real estate board brings in courses, I'm always on top of that. I actually also really like Audible. So as realtors, we spend a ridiculous amount of time in our car. So I'm picking up podcasts, I'm picking up different books, and I'm listening to those things every single day. So yeah, it's great every now and then to have mindless music go on, but you're not learning from anything, and you're not learning from that. And for me, if I'm reading a book, I'm probably about to fall asleep. So, but I love to read and I love to have those books, and I wish I could get more information in faster. And that's how you do it. So I'm in my car driving a couple of hours, and I've got stuff playing in the background that I'm listening to, and I'm thinking, this is interesting, or and it's been phenomenal. So just keep increasing that learning and ask other people. Everybody else is your best resource, right? What are you reading right now? What are you doing right now? What have you heard this week that has blown your mind?
Dude,
Matt?
I love that same thing. Audible.com, there was a podcast called 2,000 Books or something like that. It's about this gentleman who he would read a book a day, like a full book a day. He'd put on Audible, and he would listen to it at 2 to 2.5 times speed. So his brain would just suck in the knowledge, and then he would then regurgitate it back out on his podcast, talking about the high points of the book. So I'll find that podcast and I'll get it over to you guys. But I mean, I love to learn like Sarah does. I know Matt does. Because if you get that one tidbit that you can share with another agent or another person, it's going to help better their lives and better your life. You're bringing a value add to both the community, the business, and to that other human being's life who you don't even know. Like, what if you gave them that tip? They went out and put it into business, and they made a massive change in their family's life, and the way that they live. Matt, a lot of the people that reach out to me from this show say that the content and the guests and everything that we bring to them has helped them revolutionize their business, and that they've been able to step away from other careers. Neely is actually a testament of this. She was a nurse and part-time real estate agent. I summarily slapped her upside the head at one night, when she was just...
You got to go full-time.
Got to go all the way in and do this. And she went into it. She got rookie of the office the first month in with 6 new listings, and she hasn't slowed down since. Yeah. But just by giving back. I mean, so yeah, just go do it, guys. What's it going to hurt? I mean, really, what's it going to hurt?
Well, yeah, and you talk about, like, getting mentors and stuff like that. One of the first things that a potential mentor is going to look at, if they're smart and they want to, know that they're investing their time in the right place, is they want to know that they're investing their time into someone who is doing the effort outside to personally develop themselves and their business. So if you can't, like, if they ask you, what have you learned? What are you reading? You don't have an answer. You're going to lessen the chance that you can get a really great mentor. And so, there's a part of that, just having that in your life that kind of draws other people that are like-minded to you. And then, Sarah, you gave a really good question, which is like, what's the thing that's really jumped out to you? What's the thing that's like kind of hit you like a ton of bricks this week that you've learned? That is a phenomenal question. If you ever run across a really successful person, is what are you reading? And what have you learned this week that really knocked you, upside your head? Any variation of that kind of question is going to catch a really successful person. Not off guard, I want to say, but it's gonna make you jump out. Now, granted, if you're at a conference or something and everybody's asked them that same question, maybe not. But for the most part, in social situations, like if you ask them that, that's usually going to get them rolling, because somebody's learned, like somebody like that's ultra successful. They're usually reading something, learning something, or whatever that they're super passionate about. And if all you want to do is just get them to talk about it, that is a great way to do it, and they will think you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I just thought I'd throw those two things out. In fact, when I interview marketing assistants or writers, one of the questions I always ask in the upfront screening call is, what books are you reading right now? And if it's fiction, romance, spy novels, if it's anything other than business, personal development, and stuff like that, I'm not interested. Because if you're not doing those things to better yourself, you're really not going to have kind of the skill set and the adaptability to succeed. At least not today. Things change too quickly. You have to build up that muscle of always learning and always implementing. So, cool. Mm-hmm. Well, this is awesome. Veronica has a great question. How can we follow Sarah on Instagram?
Ooh, she's Adventures in Real Estate YYC.
And why is it YYC?
You just passed that test.
YYC. Our friendship just got to the next level because I remembered your Instagram handle.
That's right. All right.
So guys, for real estate, if you guys want to start doing some education, just for just kind of getting going with this stuff, and you don't know where to go learn just basic stuff about real estate, there's another great podcast called Real Estate Today Radio. It's a phenomenal podcast done by the National Association. It'll give you stats and trends going on for this time, whatever time of year that you're in. There's another one called Success Talks. It's the Success Magazine's podcast where they interview high-level people. You can start seeing a trend in what people do and think. And then, of course, Social Media Marketing or Social Media Examiner. That's another great podcast to listen to about to do social media if you want to get up to Sarah's level. And you don't want to be calling her every 30 seconds.
Please don't.
Go take a look at social media marketing.
Disappointed. That sounds very unwelcoming, Sarah.
I know. There's that book so the podcast was called 2,000 Books for Entrepreneurs. It's like this bright neon one right here, but that's another one, little clip notes of books so you guys can go listen to. So there's some educational tips for you.
Awesome. And then if they want to get the real deal education and they want to partner up with us to get it all for free, Greg, how do they talk to you?
You're going to call Matt at 402? No. What are you going to do? Which he guards his phone number ridiculously hard. And so, guys, what are you going to do is, I want to get you on a 30-minute phone call with me. I want you to go to bookmcdaniel.com. I want you guys to go there, and let's see if EXP is going to be the right fit for you. If you're joining our team, our culture, our tribe is going to be where you want to land ultimately. So we're going to help you guys teach you guys how to create wealth, not just a paycheck. After you get done closing deals, you get all of our products. Matt's going to help build a podcast for you through a system that he's putting together so that you guys can have a platform like we have here and like Sarah has on Instagram. I want to put at least 50 people on each one of your teams to our recruiting modules that we're putting together for you. So there's a laundry list of value add. So go to bookmcdaniel.com and let's get together. Let's find a time and we'll go from there. So that's how you do it, Matt.
Cool. In fact, one of the trainings that you get for free, you can actually, for those of you who are not ready to take that step in terms of joining a team, but you know that you need extra help and extra training each week, my buddy Jeff Cohn in Nebraska opens up all of his trainings for his team, which is the #1 selling team in Nebraska. They will sell something like 800-plus homes this year. So they do a Wednesday and Friday training live, super high-def quality audio and video, which you can sit in on and participate in. So that is at erslivestream.com. It's ridiculously inexpensive. It's $17 a month for, at this point, 8 hours of content a month. I think they're going to ramp it up and make their new agent trainings available as well, which would step it up to like 12 hours of content, training content a month. So for those of us that are already on the team, McDaniel Real Estate Systems, you get that for free. But if you want to break that out and go grab that separately, you can go to erslivestream.com. We had a great time with WiseHire CEO Jay Niblick last week. I think that was Friday's episode. So guys, go check out WiseHire. We love them. Who else do we love, Greg? Besides
we love everybody, man. We love
everybody. That's right.
We don't hate on anybody. We're an equally loving show.
Yes.
Except for Bob from Remax, that fucker.
Yeah, freaking Bob.
We don't
anyway,
Bob.
Yeah. All right, guys. So for the show, make sure to go subscribe. YouTube for video, iTunes or Stitcher for audio, Apple Podcasts if you have an iPhone specifically. And yeah, just thank you for sharing the show. If you want to thank us for all the content that we put out for free, the best way to do that is to go leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, because that helps iTunes know that people are enjoying the show and put that in front of more folks who can benefit. And then, of course, if you know an agent who is looking to ramp up, whether they're launching their career, whether they're looking to close more deals, or they want to grow a team, be sure to share our show with them. Gregory, anything else we need to mention?
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, for referrals, do you want them to come through Instagram, or is there another way you want them to reach you?
And you know what? Let's keep it easy. Adventures in Real Estate YYC. I always check my messages, and I'm pretty good at getting back to people pretty quickly. So that's the best way.
I sent you a message. You didn't get back to me today.
It was probably stupid.
And this is what I have to put up with, guys. This mental
That was awesome.
abuse.
See, I can't, Sarah. I can't ignore Greg's dumb messages. I just have to answer them all. See,
I can't. I'm sorry. What message? Oops. Must have missed that one.
That's funny.
You guys, this is what I'm talking about. You got to get around people that really. We all love each other on this show, but that's what we banter back and forth and have so much fun together. Get that support system like Sarah was talking about. It's going to make the difference of your sanity in the business. But Matt, what do you want to put on the show, dude?
Let's put a bow on it, Greg.
A pink little bow for you. Okay.
Sure, why not?
Yay. Can it be teal?
It can be teal. It'll be a teal
Just for today.
Teal bow today.
Today.
There we go. I'm such a guy. I didn't even know what that color was. I'm sitting there going, I think it looks blue, green. I don't know what that is. But yeah, teal.
I was thinking
Closer to Tiffany blue.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hey guys, I love you. Thank you for being a part of what we're putting together. And if we can ever help you guys any more, please let us know. Please give us ideas for guests for the show, and we will keep dropping the knowledge bombs like Sarah did today. Sarah, you're an amazing human being. Thank you for insulting me publicly and being my friend and bringing knowledge to the rest of us.
Anytime.
As always, guys, peace out, ninjas.